Hey everybody, welcome to Positive Conversations with David and Donna. I'm David.
And I'm Donna.
And this week we are going to talk about staying positive in the workspace.
Yes.
Because while recording Creative Conversations, I sort of blurted something out about that, and I was like, oh, positive conversations, because I work at a coffee shop, and also it's a frozen yogurt bar. It's a weird place, and I often very much have an issue with staying positive at work, and because I deal with customers every day, and I've been given, I'm not trying to brag, but I make a lot of tips, and I've been given a lot of reviews positively about like, oh, that little blonde boy was so sweet, and when truly on the inside, sometimes I'm like screaming at these customers. And Donna says she has lots of things to say about staying positive at work, and obviously we have very different jobs. Have you ever worked like a minimum wage type job like that though?
Yeah, I was a cashier at a store that's kind of like Walmart called TG&Y. Many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
Yeah, so
what a cool way to say it a long time ago.
Yeah, I had the minimum wage job. That was actually, I didn't have my first job until after my first year of college, so I didn't have to work before then. My dad didn't make me go get a job. But I did the grind, you know. You
understand.
Yes, I do.
So the problem that I have is I've been working at the same job for 3 years. So it's a bit of a burnout because it's the same job, and it's an easy job. But there are like some hard work that comes along with it. And most of the job is dealing with customers that come in and want to get coffee or yogurt or whatever. And I work alone also, by the way, because it's just it's not busy. So I only need one person at a time. And a big problem I run into is every once in a while I go through these stages. It's very much of a roller coaster. Sometimes I'm really enjoying work and I'm happy when people come in and I'm so nice to them. I know a lot of the customers have been coming here for so long, and I'm all energized and ready to go and work, and then I get those down points where literally I see a customer coming up to the door and I roll my eyes and I grunt and I say, another one. Like, please, I want to say, please just go away. Or they walk in and I want to say, no, just stop it. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you because you're all stupid and I hate you. And some days I'm super chill and happy and ready to work hard on my job. And it fluctuates a lot. And it's something I've been struggling with a lot lately. Sometimes wanting to quit because I'm just so burned out on this one job. Nothing actually bad happened. It's just I'm like, I love my bosses. It's just I need a different job. But I don't even know if that would really help because I probably go to work at a different coffee shop and still have the same thing of saying, please go away when people come in.
Well, I have to actually tell you that I feel like you have said to yourself what you need to hear, so I'm just going to say it back to you.
Oh, really?
You have said that some days nothing bothers you, and some days everything bothers you. So the question becomes, what is the difference?
What is the difference in those days? The only difference is me.
That's what I'm saying. So talk to me about what makes that difference.
Maybe it's what's happening in my life outside of work.
Yes.
That I come into work and you could say like, oh, life itself is really stressful, so you hate work. But what I've come to find is that actually maybe it's the other way around. Sometimes it's the other way around, where if life is really bad, I come into work happy and energized because it's like it's separate from life. But if life is going really great, then I'm angry being at work because I'd rather just get back to that life, or if there's something I really want to do that I have going on. That's not always the case, but that is sometimes the case. Sometimes the difference is just my attitude, but that has to be affected by these outside things. So, or it's not always affected by outside things. Sometimes it's just me.
Happiness?
Happiness is an inside job. That's a good point. Buy our t-shirts.
Yes. So I'm just reflecting it back to you so you can start to see what you need to see. But I have lots of examples from my own. Do you want me to talk about it?
Yes, I would. That's very much
I will have to scoff at your burnout after 3 years.
Because you've been doing the same
31.
job. Yeah.
So for me, the same job is different every year. It's different every day because I teach students. And there were times when I was a very young teacher that it was really difficult for me. And I described almost verbatim what David said. Some days I'd go to work, I'd be okay, it'd be fun, I'd enjoy the students. Other days I'd come home and I'd be so mad I couldn't see straight. It's those kids. And I literally came to the exact thing. Like I didn't prompt David to say it. I just asked, what is the difference? And I asked myself that question. What is the difference? The difference is me. And so when I understood that, I also had a little bit of advice from a coach who had been around for a really long time and actually just recently retired after almost 50 years, or maybe 50 plus years, I don't know, but he spent his whole life as a teacher. He just loved it, and he would say to us in the teacher's lounge, these people come in griping about these kids. These kids are the same every year. It's just your attitude about it changes. And that really stuck with me because I just look at the students in my classroom and every class I teach, and I'm happy to be with them. And in fact, I had this thought today. I had an activity that I had to do, that I had to set up a lot for them to do. And so they walked in the door. They had to copy something off the whiteboard while I checked roll. And then I looked around to see who all was there. I had to figure out how to put them in the groups because there had to be either groups of 4 or 5. And I had to figure out how to move people around, get them in the groups. I had all these papers I had to pass out to them, so I had to get them straight and organize them. And it took me a little while. I had to do a lot of stuff before I said, okay guys, this is what we're doing today. And in every class I was able to do that. People were not hanging off the walls screaming and fighting and killing, being ugly to each other or being rude to me. And I think it's just strictly because they enjoy being in my room, because I enjoy being in my room. I set that whole tone. Like I love what I do, and I love students. I really, really do love what I do. And I don't know if I could always say those words. I guess it probably took me, I would say 5 to even 10 years to where I was truly like going into my classroom happy every day. But just for the last several years, and this year in particular, I don't know what it is. It might just be because we talk about it all the time, but I just am happy. I love where I am. I'm just so happy to be around my students and talk to them. And, we even talked in class recently about, this similar topic, and I've had people in my class, students who have an attitude. They come in and they're having the bad day and they want to snap at me, and I don't take it personally. They can come snap at me, and I'll just kind of look at them and think, I wonder what's going on with you, and I don't want to send them to the office because they're so disrespectful. Mm-hmm. I want to see them as a human being and think, wow, are you okay? Is there something that I can do to help you? And I do honestly feel that way. I don't know if there's anything that could happen in my classroom that would make me angry at one of my students. I just have completely changed the way I feel about it,
What if I was your student, which I was at one point, what if I still was, and I just punched you in the face?
Well, getting physically assaulted is a very different
thing.
But I have had people hurt my feelings though, because if I'm really close to a student and maybe I hear they say something ugly about me behind my back kind of thing, like just any other friend, that would probably sting a little bit. And actually recently, one of my, my daughter overheard that one of my students was saying some things about how it was weird to her that some of my students came to my birthday party, and she just thought that was just really weird. And when I heard that reported to me, I just thought, well, she can think that. I mean, I don't care if she thinks that. I mean, honestly, it just kind of rolled right. And the really weird thing about that is that particular student, I have recently, just for some reason, I guess because kind of she was more on my radar, I've just kind of spent a little more time maybe going over to talk to her or respond to anything she says. And my relationship to her seems to have changed in a positive way recently. It's so strange because that could have been a real snippety, just look at her and just ignore her or say snide things to her or whatever, but I didn't.
But and also you have the way that your attitude is like, well, she can think that. You have the understanding that people are going to think things,
whatever they want to think.
Whatever they want to think, and people are going to think that thing in particular, and it really doesn't matter. Something you said that like really clicked with me was whenever like a student could be really rude to you and snap at you, and you just go, I wonder what's going on with them, because that is something I've learned like with my friends, when like my friends are like being jerks or whatever. The first reaction that I've learned to now have, when it used to be just get angry and everything, it's like, what's going on with you, pal? But when it comes to like customers and people at work, it is very much not that yet. It is if they're being like annoying or just, you know, customers can be the worst people. Truthfully, like I've seen so many things where like the way that the judge of your character is how you treat minimum wage workers. Like customers can be, or my boss has said it. My boss has said like, hey, when we first opened the store, I worked in the store and they treated me horribly. So I can only imagine how they treat you. Like customers can be horrible, and sometimes it's really hard to go if someone's being like just the worst. It's something that's really difficult to go, I wonder what's going on with you today. But sometimes I have learned to go, you know, I bet, and I tell myself like, you know, I don't know what's going on with their life. I don't know who they are. It doesn't matter. Whatever. It's fine. But sometimes on really bad days, it is really difficult for me to get to that point and not say, screw you, I hope you get hit by a bus. Like it's
I know, I understand.
And that's a point I think I would be happier if I got to the point where I always said, hey, I wonder what's going on with you. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hold it against you. You know, life is life. People are just trying to get by. You know, mm-hmm. That's something that everyone's just trying to get by. There's this great song lyric I remember where it's like, nobody wants to cause you pain. They're just trying to catch their own breath or whatever. Something like that. Mm-hmm. And I've still encountered plenty of people who are, I'm like, I think that person probably tried to cause me pain because they're mean. But like, for the most part, mm-hmm. nobody's trying to hurt anybody else. Really trying to, at least consciously. I think a lot of times what happens with like customers is maybe they're having a bad day and they subconsciously take it out on the poor minimum wage worker. But also, I know that I've probably done that before. Mm-hmm. And okay, so like example, I went to the dentist recently and I had some real trouble with my dentist. And basically, very long story short, there was a hole in my face because I had a chipped tooth, my front tooth, big chip. And like half of it, and lots of struggling with the dentist, talking about it, and lots of very, to me, it is a very big deal, right? There's a hole in my face.
And it's your front tooth.
And it's my front tooth. I need to solve this problem now and however I can, and these people should help me get that done. But I have to understand that to these dentist nurses, I'm just another patient in their day. And so when they're talking to me and kind of pissing me off the way that they're saying things, my first reaction is to just start yelling and being like, well, what the frick is wrong with you? And be snappy with them and sarcastic. Like, okay, I was told that, this is not the first time I got chipped, right? So the first time I got a filling, they said, oh, if it breaks, we'll just come give you another one for free. Well, this time I go back there and this thing is going to be $200. And so I was like, but you told me it'd be for free. So what I actually said to this person was, so were you guys just lying to me the first time? Very snappy. Probably didn't make her day. But I mean, like I was angry and I was upset about it. But when I walked away from the situation, I realized like there was no reason to do that. I was just frustrated and taking it out. And then it gives me a point of view from the customers at my own job where it's like they probably are just frustrated and taking it out on me. A lot of times I run into situations where I have to tell a customer something they don't want to hear. And usually it's because they're being stupid. Like, because they're going, well, I got a coupon 4 years ago for $2 off this yogurt. Back when y'all were called, we used to be Tutti Frutti. Now we are Bitter and Sweet. And I've had people try to use Tutti Frutti coupons from literally 4 years ago. And I'm like, man, we don't even have those coupons in our system anymore to take. And they just lose their minds over the $2 yogurt thing. And it's really frustrating. And then they bring it out on me as if I have anything to do with it. As if the person behind the counter has anything to do with it, right? But, you know, they are frustrated. They are angry about their $2, even though it is just $2. But at the time, when the customer hears it, that's not what they're thinking. Because they get it in their mind that it's going to be a certain way, then they're being told it's not. And whenever I'm a customer, I try to go into situations, especially with coupons, where I'm like, I go into situations thinking this coupon probably isn't going to work.
Well, but there usually are expiration dates as well.
Right, exactly. There usually are. But even just stuff where it's not, I'm usually like, oh, this deal, you hear about deals, and I'm like, most of them come with a fine print. So I go into every single situation saying, this deal isn't going to work, and I'm prepared with the money if it doesn't work. Like, I never go to a restaurant thinking if this coupon doesn't work, I can't eat here. I just wouldn't do that then. But I do that so that I avoid the situation of having to yell at a minimum wage waiter about something like that was probably my own fault for not understanding something.
So, on a similar but a little bit different topic, I wanted to ask you to think about an occasion. You could use that one if you want to. One day, same situation, you're chill about it, nice to the customer, no problem. Another day, stupid person, I don't know why you would ever think that way. So try to figure out how you can always respond the way you really would want to, which would be the chill, laid back way. What can you do to help yourself find that way of dealing with every stupid question or every rude customer?
What instantly comes to my head with that, and that's a good question, what instantly comes to my head is just to laugh about it in my own head.
Yes.
Because I've found myself, I tell my friends stories that happen at work, and it's either a funny story or an angry story. There's no reason that every single story can't be a funny story. You know, like, it can be the same situation where somebody comes in and says, I've had a situation where, like, a lady, like, bought a waffle cone, ate the whole waffle cone, and then came up to me and said that waffle cone was stale. I want another one for free. But then she gets a giant bowl of yogurt, and it's like, this is for free because that waffle cone was stale, but she ate the whole waffle cone. Even saying that right now, I'm like, it's kind of like that stupid, you know.
Beep, 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 beep.
Beep, beep, yeah, right? But like, because like, but it's kind of funny, but, and I could tell you that angry, like, this freaking woman came in and she ate the whole freaking waffle cone right in front of me, but then she got this bowl, like, who the frick do you think you are, you stupid blah, 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 blah. Or I could tell you, oh my god, this freaking lady, she came in,
this lady?
She came in and she ate the whole cone, like, right in front of me, and then she says, like, oh, this was stale, I want another one, and I'm like, okay, lady, well, I'm sorry, but I can't do that, but, and she got all angry about it, but I just kind of, like, told her, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is you can get from me, and she walked away angry, and if she walks away angry, that's her fault.
Right.
It's not my fault. If I respond to it that way, as long as I'm not being an actual bad person to this person, if she walks away angry, that's my fault. I can choose to walk away like the way I just told you the story and laugh. By the way, that's a true story. That is a very, very true story. And I can choose to walk away and just laugh at it and be like, that crazy lady, like, wow, that was, well, onward with my day. So that's probably, that's the first thing that comes to mind is, like, in every single situation, you can choose to laugh at it or you can choose to growl at it. I can't think of the angry, like,
the word
growl.
choose is what I'm smiling so big about. It's all about choice. It's
Yeah.
always about choice. So, you know, it's so easy to be controlled by your environment because that's how we're raised. You know, this happens, that should make you mad. And, you know, this person does this and that should make you want to get revenge. And that's just how every movie we watch works and how our parents treated us a lot. But I'm telling you, you absolutely can choose your reaction to any situation.
Anything,
Any situation.
And that's a good point, like the way you raise, like, the world, like, and not to just, like, scream at, like, parents or whatever, but, like, when you think about how, like, my mother was born in 1980 or whatever, and just, like, raising up, like, the world was very different, and it's a very, like, I'm not saying everything was always bad, but I think overall, it feels to me like that point in time was a bit more cynical, and like, certain points in history have been a bit more cynical and a bit more, their parents are probably telling them, like, I remember back when there was and it all goes back to, like my great-grandpa told me about the Great Depression and how he needed to hang on to every penny he got. So if somebody tried to take a penny from you, you killed them and killed their wife. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's super intense and angry and matter-of-fact and hard. And like, my stepdad, who is a bit older, has told me about how he just remembers how he was always told, like, it has to be like this, where, like, you have to be a penny pincher and you have to take everything super, super duper seriously, because if you let your guard down for a second, you're going to lose everything. Because at one point in time, that probably was true.
Well, Well, I don't know if it was true.
Well,
I think
it
it's
probably
just how
was.
they thought. It's how they what
It
they
probably
believed.
was the norm and the overall consensus,
Yeah.
and it may have happened sometimes where people did get screwed, and now it's been stuck with that ever since.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, if you just gotta chill out, man. Like just
Mm-hmm.
chill, just choose how you react to things, and don't be so angry when your coupon doesn't get taken. Like, and I realize this. Most of the people, this is not to pick on any. I know the time's coming up, but most of the people that I would talk about, they are a bit older, and I think it's probably because, and this is something that I've seen all over the place on social media that people agree on. This is an okay boomer kind of thing, right? Where it's like they just react very, very differently to these kind of situations, because if like a 20-year-old or whatever is like, oh, that coupon didn't work, oh, it's okay, or oh, keep the change, that kind of thing. And it's very, very different from when like an older person people will come in and the first thing they say to me, I'm like, hi, welcome, I have a coupon right here, see, look at it. And like, you can't see him.
He's holding his hands
I'm
up
holding
to
your
my
hand like
eyes.
it's a coupon. That's literally what happens where people come in. The first thing they say, or literally the other day, last time I worked, I said, hi, how are you guys? And then I was going to say, how are you guys doing? And the lady goes, 225. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? She goes, oh, that's the rewards program number. We should have a $4 off coupon. I'm like, yeah, you haven't even like gotten sample cups yet, lady. Like, chill out. But they're so concerned with like, we have to do it like this. And then whenever that sort of gets taken away from them, that's where the reaction comes from, of just like the pure like anger, and that's them choosing to react that way.
Correct.
And then I can choose to then go, okay, that's how they're choosing to react.
Correct.
I don't have to react that way.
All right.
Okay, I am very sorry. I'm going to laugh about this now with my pals and have a good time and make it into a funny story where I write about Tales from the Yogurt Store over on my Vocal, which you guys should check out, link in the description.
Yes.
Where I can write about all these like funny things that happened to me. And you're right, it is all about choice.
Well, let me go over time today.
Please.
So yesterday we had rehearsal, and my daughter had a dentist appointment. And she came back while I was ending rehearsal because she needed to stay at school for our AP nights, where they kind of previewed all the AP courses for next school year. And we had time in between, and so I said, well, let's go get something to eat, because she was hungry. We both drove, but I drove her to the Chick-fil-A down the road. Well, Chick-fil-A, social media, always talks about how wonderful their drive-through service is and how they always get everything right. Yeah. But in my history with it, for whatever reason, my husband on many occasions has gone to get us Chick-fil-A, and he comes back home and my sandwich is not in the bag. That has happened at least 3 times, maybe more. Always mine. It's always mine. It's not in the bag. And so yesterday we were in a hurry. Let's get our stuff. Went to the drive-thru. We're driving back to school, and Amelia says, "Did you order a sandwich?" And I'm like, "Yep." She said, "It's not in the bag." I was like, "Shh." So my initial reaction was, "Arr!" But then I've just learned. I don't know. It's just something switched in my brain. I'm like, it's no big deal. Like, I'm going to take her to school. I'm going to turn around, and the Chick-fil-A's on my way home. Like, I just have to just get back out, get off the road, get out and go in. And I thought, this happened for a reason. There's some reason I'm supposed to go back in Chick-fil-A. Yeah. And I walked in the door. Colby Cash is hanging over the thing that divides where you walk in, and he's just smiling at me. So this is a student that was in my first drama class 2 years ago. Just huge grin. Yeah. Walked over, talked to him, gave him a big old hug, and we just caught up for a little second. Put his number in my phone so I could tell him about upcoming productions. Just sweet. I don't think I've seen him since he graduated. Mm-hmm. So that was like, okay. So I walked up to the counter, showed my receipt, said I didn't get my sandwich. She handed me my sandwich. I walked back to my van. So I'm driving down the road, and I stop at this light that is next to a Starbucks. And when I go through the light, the next thing I do is turn to get on the interstate. And I'm just sitting at the light, and I see these 2 deranged people, when I tell you, just running toward me. And I was just like, what is happening? They were in the Starbucks parking lot running towards my van, and I just happened to glance enough to see, oh my goodness, it was 2 of my students who had seen me pulling out of Chick-fil-A. Uh-huh. And they followed me and parked in the parking lot so they could run over to me and say hello. The light was red, and there was a lane between me and the parking lot. So they had to cross in front of a vehicle and come to my window. So I'm like waving at them and blowing kisses, and that's not enough. They have to come up to the window. So I lowered my window, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? I'm like, we saw you and whatever. So we just talked briefly, and I looked up. I'm like, it's green, y'all. So they just turned and just like, I describe it as Mexican jumping beans. They just like ping, 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 back across as fast as they could so they could get back in the parking lot. And I'm just driving home with the biggest smile on my face. I mean, literally laughing out loud. Just like that was the most joyful thing. I mean, just watching these kids just like, that's my teacher, and come bounding over to my window. And I just honestly believe that all happened because I was like, this was supposed to happen. I mean, I could have been mad, and I could have gone home mad and said, they messed up my order again. I'd not even eat my food. Or
I'm so mad.
Yeah, but my brain just went click. Nope, this was supposed to happen.
Right.
I'm good. And then happy, wonderful things happened as a result.
Exactly. And what I get from that is that there was a problem, and most of these problems that people get so angry about have a very easy solution, which is just, okay, I'll go back to the Chick-fil-A. And anxiety brain tells people that, oh, it's going to remember. No. Just, you go back and say, hey, you didn't give me my sandwich. It's okay. No big deal. And you got the sandwich.
I did.
And that's something like, I have missed numerous opportunities in my life because of stuff like that where I'm like, I don't go follow the simple solution because there is a simple solution. And if you just follow the simple solution, everything's going to be okay and it's fine. And you got your sandwich and you saw your students and it's all good and great and dandy. Like, it's all fine. And everything's fine.
It was more than dandy. It was joyful.
It was joyful.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. A choice, it's all about choice.
Yes.
And you have to choose to remember that everything's fine.
Everything's
and
fine.
Usually more than fine. It's not, nothing is a big deal.
Right.
Nothing is a big deal. And also, even if you couldn't get the sandwich, it's a sandwich.
Big deal.
You wanted your sandwich. You know what? Big deal. Go home and eat a salad instead. Yeah. You know, like
maybe somebody.
Maybe that's yeah, exactly. Like and people are always just trying to do their best.
Yes.
Including the workers.
Yes.
Including the customers. You know, they're just trying to do. Everyone is just doing their best
and
to
once
get
again
by.
you have read my brain, because one of the things that one of my close friends tells me from Brene Brown, who's a big speaker, is if you can believe that everyone's just doing the best they can, it changes everything about
it does. And for a long time now, important disclaimer, and you're gonna know what I'm talking about, some people are mean and they're just mean. And because for a long time I had that thing where like everyone's just doing the best they can, and I ended up using it as an excuse to stay with somebody who's really awful. But at the same time, I still have to remember, like, I don't need to harbor bitterness towards anybody because everyone's just doing the best they can. At the same time, you have to be aware that, like, some people are just mean. But maybe that's the best they can, you know.
Yeah,
maybe that is the best they can.
You can choose,
and so you can choose to do with that what you will.
Yes.
Everybody doing the best they can doesn't mean you have to be best friends with everybody.
That's a good
It just
point.
means that everybody's doing the best they can, and maybe the best they can is not that great, and maybe it's bad.
And so you choose to.
Choose to go somewhere else. I've been in many situations where I go to like a McDonald's. And the person there is just not, like, I'm just like, I get annoyed with everything. I'm like, I'm going to go to Burger King. Like, I literally just, there have been so many times where, like, I just walk out, like, I order, like, at a drive-thru, right? And then something is just, like, I order at a drive-thru, and the drive-thru is just stalled for, like, 10 minutes. I'm like, I haven't paid yet? I just leave. And because you know what? They're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
Everyone's just doing the best they can. It is almost 30 minutes, and I think we could go for a bit longer, but I think we'll
save it for next time.
We do need to save it for next time. We need to wrap it up. I'll let you wrap this one up.
All right.
What a great episode.
It was, especially when we weren't sure what we were going to talk about, but it just sparked so many things that I feel like are so important. And just on a personal note, I'm just so happy to feel like I do. I really am happy, and I'm happy that I'm happy. So I hope that we can share that joy with you. So thank you so much for listening to our positive conversations. I'm Donna.
And I'm David.
Stay positive.